Welcome back to the 501st Hangout. Today, we're taking a look at this book called Star Wars Tarkin. Now, I know some of you are so young that you don't even know what a book is. You could just go on your mom's Kindle and download, I don't know, whatever you read, like Fortnite, the picture book. But what's important is that we're looking at this because it's a real book, and you need to know what it is. So, it starts off pretty boring. I've read a lot of Star Wars novels at this point, and this one just doesn't do it for me. It starts off with Tarkin, this man, on a moon base that he is in control of, and it gets raided, and he wants to know who and their mother would try to invade an Imperial outpost, because, why? So he's focused with that. But then, right as he's, on the brink of discovery, he gets called back to Coruscant. And that's not good because he doesn't want to go. I guess it's, really bad for tourism or something. I don't know. But, so he gets there, and the Emperor basically just tells him, I don't care that you had to do this thing. You're going with Darth Vader to this planet to research or look at something. Basically, the ISB, which is the Imperial Security Bureau for you uneducated people, found something, a separatist weapons cache, and they wanted to check it out, see if it would be of any use. And they did, but there wasn't anything of interest there. But when Tarkin was away from his precious ship, it got stolen from him by a band of literal misfits. This guy just can't keep his ship in check. I don't know. But instead of trying to get it like a normal Imperial officer, buy a new one, he decides to go on a wild goose chase, which leads into the plan of the people who stole it. Basically, one of the first rebel cells, led by a guy named Teller. So, Tarkin and Darth Vader follow them halfway across the galaxy just to get this one ship. Why would he do this? Because it's Tarkin's personal ship, dummy. He named it after a special thing from his home planet called the Charon Spike. Yeah, well, this whole book is happening. There's a bunch of flashbacks. Basically, he just had to survive in the wilderness with his uncle on a savanna, on a plateau. Then he has to climb this spike called the Charon Spike. So he names his ship after it like a real Chad. So then, after that, the whole story's going on during these flashbacks. And, he has no idea how to stop these guys, because the Charon Spike is way too overpowered. Its shields are, through the roof. Its laser cannons can destroy, everything. And they had this really big plan with interdictors, which, for the uneducated, are giant Star Destroyers that can pull ships out of hyperspace. He had a bunch of those and wanted to pull the whole radius of nearby ships in, hoping he would catch the Charon Spike, which was in the nearby system. He was wrong. He couldn't catch it because the Charon Spike just escaped. But eventually, he hunted down the Charon Spike to Tatooine. Wow. It seems that nothing happens on Tatooine, but everything happens on Tatooine. Anyway, after he tracks it down with his Star Destroyer, he absolutely decimates these fools. And the Charon Spike once again gets away. But for the most part, he crushed the rebel cell. And that's all the Emperor really cares about. Like, who cares if this guy lost his ship? But, so, Tarkin goes back. Also, they discovered that one of the High Imperials was working with the Teller guy, the leader of the whole rebel cell, and he gets executed, obviously. So Tarkin goes back, and he gets promoted to Grand Moff, and he was the first Grand Moff. For those of you who don't know, Grand Moffs control an entire section of the galaxy. Grand Moff Tarkin gets to control the entire Outer Rim and oversee the Death Star project, which was going on the entire time of the story. They reference it, but it really amounts to nothing. So he gets the control, and we get a little... He gets control of the battle station. We get a little look at what's later known as the Tarkin Doctrine. You know, if you know what that is, you know what that is. Basically just something he wrote. It's not important to the story at all. They just added it. So then he finds out that... He finds where the Teller guy is, which is on his home planet. And the Teller guy tries to ambush Tarkin on his home planet. But, because he's a fool, he gets trapped in an old trap from when Tarkin was living out in the savannah. And Tarkin's uncle, for some reason, is still alive. I don't get how that's possible. Tarkin's uncle helped him during this whole plateau adventure. Happened, like, a wee long time ago. And, I mean, they just keep the guy in the pit and just let him die. And the book ends with Tarkin looking at the Death Star, half constructed, using its sublight engines to exit the orbit of Geonosis, which the Empire would later gas bomb and commit massive genocide on. So, I mean, this book was really disappointing. I wished for more exciting story. Sure, it was better than if it was just politics, but it just wasn't that great. I recommend Star Wars Aftermath or Star Wars Alphabet Squadron over this. Even Star Wars Battlefront Twilight Company. All those books will be reviewed on my channel soon, so it's been the 501st Hangout. Later, nerds.